You're listening to In Touch with Terri, brought to you by the Inbound Podcasting Network and Terri Ross Consulting, expert management consulting and sales training to help your aesthetic practice thrive.
There's no better time right now than to focus on the things that we can control. It's very easy for us to be reactive, and I want to ask that we just try to be proactive, because what we can control is our effort right now, and taking a real introspection of our time and choosing to do it wisely. So we can't control the environment or the state of the economy right now and what's happening, but we can control the effort and the execution that we bring to this daily. There is no better time, you guys, than to honestly develop your 2020 goals, your business plans, because with chaos comes opportunity.
Terri's Tribe, welcome again to episode 9 of In Touch with Terri. It's a podcast that's designed for healthcare professionals that are looking to develop systems and processes to attract more clients, convert more patients into paying procedures, and of course, to generate more revenue. My name's Tim Cicciarelli with Inbound Digital Media and the Content Marketing Specialist for Terri Ross Consulting. Well, in this episode, we're going to get a little serious and really transparent about what's going on, not only with the aesthetic industry, but all business. There has never been a more important time, people, to get your teams and your systems dialed in. With all the craziness going on in the world right now, business owners everywhere are bracing for impact. This is very serious. So how can we as business owners prepare for what's to come? Well, one thing is for sure, you can expect your employees and your clients to be spending more and more time at home and in isolation as they practice social distancing. So this raises a big question. How in the world can we adapt and stay ahead of it? Well, in the last episode, you had a chance to meet the newest member of Terri's Tribe, Robbi Grayson, who is joining us again today. And of course, Terri's with us. So Terri, in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can navigate through this pandemic that we're all suffering through globally, of course. But we're also need to make an announcement that, for the last several episodes, we've been telling everybody that your live sales training event here in March at the time of this recording has been postponed. Do we have new dates for that, Terri, as of right now?
We do, you guys. I'm so excited. We have postponed that to June 20th and 21st still here in Manhattan Beach, which will be even a great time. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, like you said, thank you for that amazing intro. I think we want to take this opportunity to share with you what we kind of plan to do to help all of you guys that are home right now, because this is heading home for all of us, including myself. So here at Terri Ross Consulting, I'm having to pivot as well. As I mentioned on the last one, my little girl is 6, she's at home, and Lord, she needs to be tutored and taught all day long. In the meantime, we still have a business to run. So kind of before we get started, I want to set the precedent. So I want to say a few things. During these uncharted waters, there's no better time right now than to focus on the things that we can control. It's very easy for us to be reactive, and I want to ask that we just try to be proactive, because what we can control is our effort right now, and taking a real introspection of our time and choosing to do it wisely. So we can't control the environment or the state of the economy right now and what's happening, but we can control the effort and the execution that we bring to this daily. So right now, there is no better time, you guys, than to honestly develop your 2020 goals, your business plans, because with chaos comes opportunity. And that's what we want to give to you back here today. So we're going to kind of segment and really focus on things people ask us all the time. And I'm turning this over and ask Robbi some questions, because like I said, you're going to hear from us regularly on these podcasts, number one. And number two, we are probably going to be developing this amazing group coaching model, because there are many, many, many things that you guys frankly all have in common when running these practices, and the areas where you are struggling, and the consistency is all the same. And so how can we take this opportunity where it's not just a one-on-one opportunity, but bring all of you guys together, which does a couple things. You build rapport with each other. You have camaraderie. You have opportunity to talk on an open forum. So please also join my Facebook group. There's going to be a lot of information coming out there as well. So we want to take this segment and provide you with some tools, some tactics, some resources, some best practices that for those of you that are open, what you can do to be safe, And for those of you that are at home, what you can also do to be taking this time wisely. So when you come back, you are like 10 times better and stronger. So in the last episode, we got a chance for you all to meet Robbi Grayson and to learn a little bit more about her and her background. And so her and I have been talking a lot. And I wanted to kind of just put some questions out there, questions that I get frequently from current clients or people writing in and what they want to learn. But we want to give you some very specific things that you can do right now. So Robbi, we know that there's obviously there's internal factors, there's external, and we know that there's some businesses open right now. Let's focus on the ones that are open. What are some things that you want to share with the tribe that they should be doing, number one, to protect themselves and their patients?
Yeah.
And then number two, continuing to provide good service and then increase revenue during this time.
So let's start with ways that we can mitigate the impact on your revenue. Yeah, that revenue stream has come to a trickle for some of you. And bear in mind, we've got different segments we're going to deal with. So what can we do immediately right now? We're going to talk about other things in the future. And, when it comes back, you're going to be 3 times as busy. So we're going to kind of go from here to there. But the first thing, the most important thing is to make your patients know that they're safe and your patients trust you. So how are they going to know that? You've got to communicate with them on your social media. I don't know if you do any live Facebook or Instagram live, but if ever there was a time, now is the time. Let them know what your practice's model for vigilance is in this situation. Post pictures of your staff with their protective equipment on. Show them that when they come in, that your team members are practicing the CDC rules and doing all the right things. So put a picture of the staff on social media, do a live video, literally do a tour of the office showing your hand sanitizer when they come in. I even thought, some fun thing to do if the patient felt more comfortable having a mask on. The CDC has approved the use of contractor masks, which you can get at Home Depot and Lowe's. So, they're $2 a piece. Get a big basket. And if clients want to grab their own mask, let them do that. Anything to make them feel better. Stage appointments. Ironically, I had an appointment with a neurologist yesterday. And when I got there, I was the only person in the waiting room. And they were staging their appointments so that, people would not have to interact with other clients. So
for those of you that are staying open, you heard what she said, aside from the protective gear, which I know that we're all trying to be diligent, but her takeaway there was messaging. Because I know a lot of people right now say, I don't put out newsletters. I don't put out information. Social's one component. I would encourage you right now, if you don't have a writer, get a content writer, have somebody be able to articulate that with your database, because that's pushing out good information. And, I teach and I call it reach and frequency. We do not want people to forget about you. So you want to get that information out. 2, she said stage appointments. Have people come in every hour, whatever that is, whatever your segmentation is, so that you're still seeing patients, but there's nobody else there. So I love those 2 things, Robbi. Amazing.
And then how can we actually do business, new business, not just appointments that we had on the book? Teleconsulting. Get Zoom, schedule consultations via Zoom. And even as an incentive right now, or a way to encourage people to do it, eliminate your consultation fee. Typically, we encourage you to charge a consultation fee, but for now, during this period, do the teleconsultations, eliminate the fees. It's a great way for people. They're sitting home. But you got to get that information out. You've got to let them know that you're offering this. So, and then here, let's think about 6 weeks from now, or I'm hoping 4 weeks from now, I'm gonna have the glass half full. Yeah, exactly. But let's think about
full of wine. The glass is going to be full of wine.
Amen. But let's think about when all of a sudden, boom, it's over, and everybody rushes back to all those people that have stacked up, that have missed their appointments. You got to be prepared with expanded hours. So you may have 2 or 3 more weeks where instead of working, a 45-hour week in your practice or whatever that is, it's now a 60-hour week. So you're making up that lost revenue. And of course, the financial piece is a huge part of it. So those are just some things you can do now, and then being proactive and saying, okay, when the busy bus comes back in, I'm going to have to be prepared. And that means staff knows that there's extended hours, that patients know that there's extended hours. And I don't think there's anything wrong with letting your clients know that now as well. In addition to waiving your consultation fee and doing teleconsults, you're also, just FYI, we're going to extend our hours for a short period or for, indefinite period after we reopen, just to make sure we get all you folks back in. So those are just a few things that you can do to make this situation, to mitigate the damage that we've got.
Okay, those are amazing things. Thanks, Robbi. And again, I know you guys are probably, in your head and not really able to think through. So, let's recap kind of everything Robbi just said, because it's really important. So we want to get messaging out to your database. So have something written, post on social, in addition to getting a newsletter out about how you're protecting them. If you're open, stagger those appointments so patients feel safe. 2, telemedicine. We know that there are amazing patient management software companies out there right now that are offering the telemedicine through their software, which is another opportunity to do telemedicine to get these consults done and in. And then waive the fee. You guys know I'm a hardcore believer about charging, but right now, if we want to make sure that people are coming in the door, because I'm kind of hearing two schools of thought. There are people wanting to close for the reasons that are happening, in the world with that messaging. But there are other people saying, hey, God, if people are going to sit at home, let me go get that halo. Let me go get the CO2, or let me go get the rhinoplasty, or whatever that is. And so it's a little mixed bag right now of what people are feeling. So those are some takeaways. Now let's kind of get into some things that when you guys are at home. So now you're at home, you're wondering, what the hell am I going to do? You may or may not have access to your patient management software. I don't know, because I know that that's one of the things, Robbi, wouldn't you agree? People come to us and they say, well, I'll ask them, what reports do you run? We don't, because they don't even know what to run, right? They don't know what to run. And so now is an opportunity to also say, okay, let me learn how to efficiently run my software. Because what do we say, right? Inspect what you expect. Your data in there tells the story about what kind of patients you see, how often they're coming in, what's their revenue per hour, what are they spending? I mean, I can go on and on and on, which is a lot of the things we want to be able to talk to you about too on this webinar series of things we can actually teach you, like literally teach you, so that you can go back to the practice and feel more confident about that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things we teach, right? I know you love talking about revenue per hour. Let's talk about what kind of reports people should be running and how should they figure that out. And then I know we're going to be, offering some training courses on that.
Well, and just sort of to segue or to pile back on what you're saying about having time at home too. And, I've thought about this situation we're in right now with the corona disaster, and we do have time on our hands right now. And I know so many busy practices in the past that want to dig in and clean up their financials, have the reports, be able to forecast and set goals, but they're busy practices and they don't have time. And, it's always, we're going to do that. We were going to do that. So this is a great time to do that, to, kind of do some of the heavy lifting that you don't have time for in your normal busy schedule, and get your financial house in order. Yep. But so Terri, back to the revenue per hour. That's sort of where it all begins for me, whether it be setting goals for my employees, whether it be forecasting for next year, so on and so forth. But that's sort of like the first financial piece. And so I like to take the services we offer and put them together into categories that are defined by who is the provider. Is it a physician? Is it an NPPA? Is it an esthetician? Who performs the service? And so that's one way. And then the other way is to tie it to either your capital purchases or how you would market. So taking all those three factors into consideration. So let's take, for example, laser skin rejuvenation. So here's where we're going to combine our services that use a laser, maybe a light, and we take all the numbers and then we put them in and we determine what is our revenue per hour. And that's based on how long it takes you to do it and what you charge per hour. And then once we get that revenue per hour, we can then drill that down even more to what does it cost us an hour to perform that service, and include your labor and your cost of goods in there. So now we have a simple calculation. It's pretty simple to put together, that if you would create that, set goals for individual employees, use it to forecast, use it as a model to set up your P&L. Have your profit and loss at the above the line that mirrors your categories. One of the things I love about new development is that you get a fresh start and you get to do it the right way. That's one of the great things about working with us is that, again, going back, many practices is, boy, I wish I knew that when I opened. So these are just really basic fundamental things that daily, weekly, and monthly you're going to be tracking. But in my opinion, it does start with, we need to know what our revenue per hour is. And you can extend that and say, what's the revenue per square foot in my facility? Or what's the revenue per resource? So I take that and move it around sometimes and do other things with it. But, if I have a category with a whole bunch of lasers, maybe I want to drill into that a little bit and then say, what is it per resource? And then I make a decision about, lasers that don't need to be in my repertoire of services. So anyway,
I love that. So I'm gonna kind of repeat that back, you guys. And I think that, again, stay tuned for one. We're going to launch our group coaching model and our workshops, because we will be offering you, if you decide to come and join us for that, a worksheet. Okay, a worksheet that you can just download the worksheet and fill in the blank. Because I know listening to this, you're like, oh, what the hell did she say? But for those of you that have heard me speak, right? So what I'd like you to do in short is write down these categories, because this is where you can start to simplify things. And then if you have new hires on board, this is how they can learn. I want you to write the categories down. I want you to write laser skin resurfacing, skin tightening, body contouring, esthetician services, injectables, age management, hair restoration, female rejuvenation. Okay. Those are the main categories that people typically have when they're starting a practice. And so Robbi made a point. There are people that are like, God, I'm not really making any money. Well, it's because you don't know where your time's being spent. So the whole purpose of this exercise, this revenue per hour, is so that you're not throwing gum at the wall going, shit, I'm putting all this money in marketing and I'm not getting the kind of patients. Well, the reason for this is you have to market toward the things you want to grow and the things that make you the most money, in addition to giving the patients the best outcome. So what Robbi said was, you're going to take the categories, you're going to clump the services in those categories. So you're going to put laser skin resurfacing, you're going to list the procedures that you offer, you're going to put down how much you charge, you're going to put down how much time it takes, and you're going to come up with a number. And then we can help you later to expand on that, versus Robbi said. So that's the long and short of it. Did I get that right, Robbi?
You did great. Perfect.
Got it. Okay, so that's one thing. I think the other thing is that, Robbi's talking about mitigating finances, and she had some good takeaways with us on the phone about, your loans and calling the bank. So Robbi, let's talk a little bit about what these practices should be doing in terms of that.
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to confront it. I've been through a few similar, unfortunately, but I don't know, you learn from your experiences. When business was down for almost 4 weeks one time with my spa, actually. And so I think the most important thing is to wrap your arms around it and deal with it. Don't be an ostrich. Communicate with your staff, your team's concerned. You're concerned. I know there's a pit in your stomach, possibly, a lump in your throat. We don't know how long this is going to last. So the best thing to do is to confront it, be proactive, take a critical look at your current assets. How are you? How long can you maintain? Your team is going to want to know about, am I going to have a job? Do I come in? What do I do? What do I not do? So, but before you can make decisions, you have got to look at your entire financial situation and how you're going to fare over a 6 to 8 week period. And so how are you going to deal with those if you are in a cash strap situation, if you don't have that rainy day fund? So what are those fixed expenses? And then what I encourage you to do is call your lenders, call your lease companies, call your landlord. This is not going to be forever. And like I talked about earlier, let's really pad up the days when we get back so we can make up this long time. But communicate with any financial institutions that you have to. This is not something that I like talking about, but if you have staff issues, keeping staff on while you're not seeing patients, and if that's a challenge for you cash flow wise, then some states, I know I'm in Connecticut, they have a job share so that if and they are encouraging employers right now, if you have to lay staff off part-time, they will get an unemployment check. Again, you need to look at every individual state. SBA has jumped in. If you need a loan right now, go to your state, go to your development, and SBA has already approved their disaster loans. This has been considered a disaster, up to 30-year loans, 0% interest. So if you need cash right now, there is help for you. So go for it. This is not a time to, get your pride out of the way and go out and take care of things. But communicate to staff, know what you need to run your business for, I would say 6 to 8 weeks, cash flow. Those that you can't manage, talk to your lenders. I don't encourage people to go out and take loans if they don't have to, but if you have to, that's available for you as well.
Good stuff, you guys. Because again, I don't think we're really thinking beyond that because we're just in the weeds right now. And so I think, lastly, one of the things we want to focus on too is that kind of back to what this was about. What can people do right now while they're at home? And, I don't want this to be self-serving, but I do want to preface that, one of the things every practice says, which is the reason I didn't develop my practice foundational elements course because I had nothing better to do. It was about offices really saying, Terri, when I listen to the phone calls, the people are just answering the question and hanging up, or, they're providers and they're not able to convert the patients, or the patients don't return. I could go on and on and on and on and on. And so, I know sales again can be this creepy sort of word, but you guys have heard me say, we're not selling anything. These patients are coming because they have a vulnerable problem. They don't feel good about themselves. Something's bothering them. And what they're looking for is the solution. And so for you guys that say to me, I don't want to push, or I don't know how to develop a treatment plan, or they can't afford it. It's not up to you to decide. What is up to you is for you to say, you're the expert. You know this space. You know what kind of procedures and modalities you can put together so that they get the best outcome. Because the last thing we want is I'm getting injectables here and a facial here and a laser here and a rhinoplasty here. Because this space, you guys know that I managed a med spa in Beverly Hills, which is the most competitive place in the country. There was 300 med spas and surgeons in a 3-mile radius. And so you have to be really smart and you have to know this shit. Okay. So Robbi, we've talked about, right, keeping your practices safe and what they can do there. We also talked about the financial aspect of things, which is really, really important. Looking at your P&L, calling your vendors and your loans, and looking at what your overhead is and how you're going to handle that. And now let's talk about what people can do while we're at home, because you've heard me say it in the beginning, we can be proactive and we have a choice. We can sit around and wallow in this, or we can really say, how am I going to invest in myself? How am I going to invest in my practice? What can we do while we're at home so that when we come back, we can be stronger?
Yeah. So, then this is where the opportunity, we have to look for the good, and, everything in this situation is not a good situation, but wow, what an amazing time to take our online course, or, say, okay, I'm ready to get my financial house in order. I want to understand my KPIs. I want to understand how I can show my team. If we can get your clients to come in one more time a year, if they average 3 times and they come in 4 times, that's marketing dollars we can save and put back into the company. So how can I get my financial house in order so I can use all these tools to, just to be stronger, to sharpen the sword? Get your financial house in order, get your sales team in order. The team has time now. Perfect your scripts, work on your treatment plans. And again, I'm going to, I refer back to something I said earlier. I hear all the time, it's just finding the time to do this stuff. And you've got the time now. We want to know from you, what is it that you What do you need? I mean, is it compensation? Are you thinking about opening a practice? Because, wow, this is a great time to do a lot of the lead work. Telephone, we can start helping you with the new practice blueprint, taking you through. Terri mentioned earlier that she has grown and is offering new coaching packages. And so if you're thinking about a new practice, that's one of the new packages that we're offering now. So
thank you, Robbi. That was, wonderful and really valuable information for the tribe out there. So I just want to leave it with this. You guys are the reason that TRC is here. You're the reason I do what I do. And I want to leave you with this message that I got today, because, while we're all in this state of flux, that's kind of brought tears to my eyes, and I wanted to share it with you. And I did a training last week at a practice down in San Diego, about 25 people, cosmetic derm, a really big med spa. And this is what one of the team members wrote me today. And it said, Terri, I can't thank you enough for everything you taught us this weekend. I'm confident, I'm empowered, and I'm excited. And I'm going to use this wealth of information and knowledge in my home and my career and wherever life takes me. Thank you again for all you taught us, and good luck on your journey. I hope that we have an opportunity to stay in each other's lives. And it touched me so much that, because listen, when we're doing this and we're in it, I question, how can I be better? What else can I do? And how else can I provide value? So I'm in the same boat as you, and I'm always constantly learning, and I learn from you. So please, I want to hear from you. So please don't be shy. Go on my Facebook group. Tune in with Terri. The podcast is amazing, and you'll hear from experts in the industry. You'll hear from us talking about tips and tricks, but great way for us to connect. Go on my Instagram, check out the website, and just send us an email. And I can't wait to hear from you guys. So be safe, healthy, be happy, love and light. And I want to say this because Shino Bay in Fort Lauderdale, key opinion leader, kick-ass cosmetic dermatologist. Him and I are very good friends, and I want you to hashtag everything. I pledge to be better. So with that said, we're going to wrap it up. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Terri. And again, we want to welcome Robbi Grayson to Terri's tribe and to the team at Terri Ross Consulting. As Terri mentioned earlier in the episode, due to responsible social distancing, Terri has postponed her live sales training seminar until June 20th and 21st in Manhattan Beach. Now, we'll have more information on that as it becomes available. We have all been hunkering down as we navigate through this COVID-19 crisis, and we've been forced to stop our normal operations. So what do we do now? Well, we educate ourselves, and we prepare for the time when it will be business as usual. So how about you sign up for Terri's online sales training video course? Make the most of your downtime and click the link in the episode notes to videos with detailed information about Terri's course, testimonials from those who attended the filming of the sales training course, and a link to sign up for it. It's titled Practice Foundational Elements, Your Roadmap to a 7-Figure Medical Practice. This video course offers 5 modules to help you build a rock-solid foundation for your business, and with information that is based off of Terri's 20-plus years of sales experience and her proven methods of scaling a Beverly Hills medical spa, yielding growth of $600,000 in just 1 year. Terri's online course also includes access to Terri's Tribe, a private Facebook group, workbooks, talk tracks, and key performance indicators, KPIs, which on their own is valued at about $1,500. Plus, you'll get the 13 critical components to a successful phone call. And if that wasn't enough, you'll receive special discounts on Terri's additional products, services, and live events. And to top it all off, how about a 30-minute call with Terri Ross herself following your completion of the course? That way she can answer any questions you may have or just give you and your team that extra dose of motivation to transform your practice. Also, right now is a really good time to think about having high-quality marketing videos produced for your website, your social media platforms, and possibly video-driven ad campaigns. And I would personally love to assist you with that. My company, Inbound Films, produced all of the videos for Terri's Med Spa in Beverly Hills, and of course all the videos on her website and her YouTube channel. I offer free video conferencing consultations via Zoom, and if we find that we're a fit, we can begin our strategic pre-production process during this social distancing phase so that we can be ready to film as soon as it becomes responsible to do so. We film all over the country, and our video products are probably more affordable than you might think. So check out the links in the episode notes to find all the ways you can contact me. I'd love to chat with you. For Terri Ross of Terri Ross Consulting, I'm Tim Cicciarelli with Inbound Films and the Inbound Podcasting Network.